Hello and welcome to day one of the Get Out of Your Comfort Zone 5-day challenge. I am so excited that you're here and I hope you are ready to move forward in your life because that's what this week is going to be all about, is how we can take those next steps, those next itty bitty baby steps to move forward and get someplace and start reaching the goals that we've been trying to work towards. If you haven't started working towards your goals, if you don't have those goals set, that's that first baby step of figuring out what those goals are going to be. And we're going to go through all of that this week. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Leslie Zwick. I'm a certified health and wellness coach, certified mindset and habit coach, and I am certified in emotion code and body code. And so I work on all different levels. I work on the physical level, work on the mindset level, and I work on the energy level. So all of those things combine to help ourselves become the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be. So let's get started because this week is going to be all about really using all three of those things. We're going to be talking about physical changes we can make. We're going to be talking about the mindset changes we can make. We're going to be talking about the energy changes that we can make and the emotions that go into it and how to use them and where they work well and where they don't work well. We're going to combine all of the things that I love talking about into one set of 5 days, and I'm really, really excited. So we're talking about getting out of our comfort zone though this week. That is so huge. And why are we doing this? What's the purpose of this? Why did I even throw this out as my 5-day challenge this time? I'm going to tell you, I did it selfishly for myself. Okay. I sat back and I realized I'm a little bit stuck in my comfort zone in a whole bunch of places in my life. And being stuck in my comfort zone in those places in my life are not serving me. I have some really big goals in my life, as I think many of you do. And I'm not getting there because I'm sitting over here in my comfort zone. And I really want to get out of my comfort zone. So I figured what better way to do that than to grab other people who want to get outside of their comfort zone and work together and create this challenge. So this challenge this week, everything that I'm challenging you to do, I'm going to be doing myself as well because I want to get out of my comfort zone. I want to grow personally, professionally, in all different ways. And I want to help you do the same thing. And it's always better when we do it together. So what does this even mean? Getting outside of your comfort zone. First of all, is a comfort zone even a bad thing? I would say it's not. Okay. So just like I talk about emotions with people, a comfort zone is not a bad thing. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. We have to ask ourselves, is it serving us? The same thing with emotions. There is no such thing as a bad emotion or a good emotion. Fear, anxiety, grief. A lot of times people think of those as negative, bad emotions. They're not if you use them correctly. Think about fear. And we're going to talk a lot about fear, which is why I'm honing in on this one right now. Fear can drive us to do the right things, or fear can hold us back. How are we using it? Think about in the example of fear. You have a small child, you're playing out in the front yard, and your small child goes and runs out into the street and there's a car coming. Fear is going to take over, that emotion of fear is going to take over, and you're going to act, and you're going to go and you're going to grab that child and bring them back, right? Fear. If we didn't have that fear, we wouldn't react that way necessarily. That drives us to take that action. But oftentimes people think of fear as a negative emotion. Anxiety can be the same way. Sometimes we can feel really anxious about something. And if we let it drown us, if we let it sit on our shoulders and push us down, it's not serving us. But if we feel anxious about something and we use it to the positive and recognize it and pay attention to it and say, okay, I'm going to work through this. I'm going to use this emotion in a positive way to work through it and push through it. It can really serve us well. It can really help us. Same thing with grief. Grief is a big one. If we wallow in the grief, it's not always helpful. But when we feel it, when we acknowledge it, when we recognize it, and when we move through it, it's actually really helpful and it can be a very healing emotion. All of our emotions are like this. It's how we use them. And the comfort zone and getting through our comfort zone is exactly the same thing. And that's what we're going to be doing this week is we're going to be figuring out where you fall, where I fall, where all of us fall in this comfort zone sequence and where we want to use it and where we want to push forward and where we want to sit in it. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly with you and show you a graphic you may have already seen. It's a favorite graphic of mine. And this graphic shows how we work through a comfort zone beautifully. So over here, this small gray section is our comfort zone. We feel safe. We feel in control. That comfort zone is really important. If we are not in the comfort zone in any aspect of our lives, we feel overwhelmed. We feel nervous. We feel anxious. We feel all these negative things if we don't have any sense of our comfort zone. So a comfort zone is not bad. It's actually very important. So the first thing I want you to start thinking about is, where are you in your comfort zone? What are things that are comfortable to you? Okay. And we're going to do a whole program today. We're going to have a whole challenge piece of the lesson. It's going to be talking about this. So in certain areas, you're in your comfort zone, and you want to be in your comfort zone. You want to feel really comfortable there. Okay. The next zone is the fear zone. We go from comfort, and when we jump into something new, it's usually pretty scary. That's why people always talk about the only way to growth is stepping outside of your comfort zone. So that first thing, that's going to be really scary, because if it wasn't scary, it would be part of our comfort zone. We would be doing it already. Okay. So that's really important. What happens when we're in our comfort zone? Oftentimes we have a lack of self-confidence. We doubt ourselves, imposter syndrome, all of those things. We find excuses to pull back and stay in this comfort zone. That's the mindset. That's the talk in our brains. That's the emotions, right? Having more control. We find those excuses. We are oftentimes affected by other people's opinions. Those things keep us locked in the fear zone, keep us locked up. But fear can stand for one of two things. Fear can stand for face everything and rise. I can look that lack of self-confidence in the eye and say, okay, I'm not so sure that I know how to do this. And that's okay, right? I may not be very good at this. That's okay, right? Other people are better than me at this. That's okay. I can look at that lack of self-confidence and say, but I'm going to give it a shot, right? Face everything and rise. I'm going to do my best, and my best may not be as good as somebody else's, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to look at that, face everything and rise. I'm going to look at those excuses. Well, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if? But what if we change those what ifs to, what if I'm really successful? What if this is really great? What if this doesn't work out the way I want it to, but I learned something new, right? Changing those excuses into flipping the script on those. And then being affected by other people's opinions. That's a big one, a really big one. But remember, a lot of the times, those things are the stories we're telling ourselves in our heads. We think that's someone else's opinion. It may or may not be. And the truth is, even if it is their opinion, even if they told you that, does it really matter? Does their opinion really matter? Probably not. Unless it's affecting their life, it's probably not going to matter. A lot of times when people really do voice an opinion like that, they're in their own fear zone. And it's not about you. That's a really good thing to have as a ticker tape going through your head. When somebody says something, it's not about me, it's not about me, it's not about me, because it usually isn't about you when someone else's opinion gets in the way. The people I like to surround myself with are the people that either can keep their opinions to themselves and cheer me on. That's really the people that I want, is even if they don't believe that that's the right thing, that they can say, try it, right? Let's go see what happens. And even if in their heads they're going, it's never going to work, that's okay. That's their opinion. Let me figure that out on my own, right? So really starting to be able to say, if somebody gives you an opinion that you don't like, let me figure it out on my own. So fear, face everything and rise, can be one way to look at it. Or forget everything and run. What am I going to do in this fear zone? Am I going to rise and face these things head on? Or am I going to run and head back right here into my comfort zone and sit in my comfort zone? Right? We have two choices in this fear zone, but the fear zone is really a good thing. It's an important place to be. And that's why I'm spending so much time on this, because it's an important place to look at it and go through each one of these things, your lack of self-confidence in this, the excuses that you're making in this, the other people's opinions that maybe they're really real opinions, or maybe they're the stories in your head that you're telling yourself that that's their opinion, right? To face those things, to look at them head on, and to rise from them. That's a very, very, very important step. And when you get through that step, that's when you jump in to the learning zone. You're dealing with the challenges and problems. You're acquiring new skills, right? Lack of self-confidence. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. You're going to acquire those skills. You're going to ask questions. You're going to do what you need to do to get those skills. And then you're going to extend your comfort zone. You're going to move through this and you're going to be in this learning zone. And all of a sudden, oh, wow, those problems weren't as big as I thought they were going to be. Look, my what ifs, the positives are coming, or the what ifs, the negative what ifs happened, but I'm figuring out how to handle it. I've got some new skills, right? And this learning zone all of a sudden actually becomes your comfort zone again. It really does. Like in some levels, it starts to become your comfort zone again. And that's when we start to push through into that last zone, that growth zone, where we've taken that to the next step. We're finding purpose in it. We're starting to live out our dreams. Back here in the learning zone, we're creating those dreams. We're starting to envision those, creating those dreams. We're beginning in the growth zone to set new goals. Look at what I did. Look at how much I learned in this learning zone. Look at the skills that I acquired. Look at the problems I faced head on and I dealt with them. All of those pieces. So now we're going to start setting new goals and we're going to start conquering our objectives. But then what happens, we get here and we're finding all this, and then we come out into this level, and you know what comes out here again? We're back in a new comfort zone because we've learned and we've grown, and then this all becomes comfortable. And we do it all again. We do it all over and over and over. And that's really important. But it's really important that we're not doing this process with everything in our life all at once. If we try to do everything in our life all at once, we're going to get really overwhelmed. The anxiety is going to come in. The fear is going to take control. And we're not going to accomplish much of anything. When we try to do too many things all at one time, we need, in some places in our life, to be in a comfort zone. We need a really well-established comfort zone that's going to give us balance, that's going to give us support. My family is my comfort zone. My family lifts me up. My family comforts me. When I'm in that fear zone, I can lean on those people, my friends, my clients. There are actions that I take that have become so consistent. They're part of what I do. It's super duper comfortable for me. And I need that comfort zone so that when I'm in the fear zone in someplace else, this can feel good. I can lean into what feels good. When I'm in the learning zone in something else, I have some things that feel really comfortable that I can lean into. That is really, really important to have some of those things. So we want to pick, what I usually tell people is pick one thing at a time, that we want to be pushing through this and have stuff in other places. It's okay to be in your comfort zone in a lot of different things, and in your fear zone in one thing, and a learning zone in something different, and a growth zone in something different, or to be in your comfort zone in a lot of things and pick one thing that you're working all the way through on this. You don't have to be doing it all at one time. We don't want to be doing it all at one time because that's when the emotions take over. That's when the procrastination comes in. That's when the frantic mindset, that's when all of this, all these other pieces, we start creating this catastrophe in our brain, or we start really visualizing things and creating these crazy dreams that then we feel like a failure because we've gone too big, too fast, and we can't reach them. So all of these are pieces to that, but we have to understand where we are and how to move forward from them. So today's challenge, what I'm going to challenge you to do, because number one thing is to recognize it and observe where you are. Before you can move through any of these things, we have to observe where we are. We have to really have a good understanding of where we are. So I'm going to stop my share, and I'm going to challenge you today to get a piece of paper. I've already set mine up, but I'm going to show you. So I've got mine set up. Get a piece of paper, fold it into fourths like this. So you have 4 even columns. Okay. So I folded it in half and folded it in half again. And you've got 4 even columns, and you're going to open it up. And on the top of each one of these, you're going to write across the top, comfort, fear, learning, growth. Okay. You're going to have 4 columns. And I want you to take a few minutes and just brain dump. Where in my life am I in my comfort zone? Where in my life am I in my fear zone? Where in my life am I in the learning zone? And where in my life am I in my growth zone? You may not have something for all 4 columns yet. That's okay. You don't have to have something in all 4 columns. I'm sure, my guess is you have a lot of things in your comfort zone. And you probably have some stuff in your fear zone, right? And if you have stuff in the learning and growth zone, fantastic. Wherever you are is right. Okay. Wherever you are is good because it's your starting point. And that's what we're going to get to is what is your starting point? So we're going to make these lists. And today, after you make your list, I want you to take your list and I want you to post it in the group. I want you in the chat, in the comments underneath this, post a picture of your chart so we can see it, right? There's nothing to be afraid of. We are all there. Every one of us is there in all different ways. And if there are certain things on there that you don't want, specific words or whatever, certain things that you don't want people to see, that's fine. You can cover it up or something, but somehow, or blur it out or something, but just so you're posting for accountability that you've done it. Okay. Everyone that posts their chart today will be entered to win in a drawing for participating in this piece of it. Because I want you guys to get into action. This challenge this week is not about not being in action. This challenge this week is about taking action, taking steps. So you're going to post what you write in your comfort zone, fear zone, learning zone, growth zone, whatever you are, and make that list. The next thing after you create that, you're going to sit down and we're going to work through which of these things, which is one thing you want to start to move to the next zone. Maybe it's something from your comfort zone that you're ready to move forward from. Maybe something in your fear zone you're ready to move forward from. Maybe something in your learning zone you're ready to move forward from. Maybe something in your growth zone you're starting to feel that it's getting a little comfortable and we want to take it to that next level and start it again and set some new goals, right? Whatever that is, it's okay. So your first task though is to make that list. And then the next task is to pick one thing in one of those lists where you want to begin to move forward. Okay. And we're going to work through this week as to how to move from each one of those zones. What is that mindset piece? The other thing that I'm going to throw out to you, one of the most amazing tools that I have in my toolbox to help people do all of this is I have a free, what's called Habit Finder assessment. The assessment will take you about 10 minutes to do. It's a free assessment to take. And once you do it, you will receive a report that will tell you where your habits of thinking are. Now, you're going to look at this report and you're going to make some assumptions off of this report of where you are. First thing I want to tell you off of this, and I'm going to post, the link to the Habit Finder assessment is going to be in the chat, in the comments, so you can go and click that and you can grab it and take it. First thing, I don't want you to assume anything off of this report. I want you to, once you've taken it, to schedule with me a free debrief. And we're going to go through this and we're going to look at what some of your habits of thinking are. Because some of your habits of thinking are going to be playing into how well and how easily you were able to move through this. And if it's your habits of thinking that are holding you back from it, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks of how to move through that. So that's going to be really important to take that free Habit Finder assessment. It'll be open all week. You can take it all week and schedule a debrief with me. Because habits of thinking, the beautiful thing about habits of thinking is they're just that. They're habits, and habits can be changed. Habits in our life are really actually good. And some habits serve us really well. And some habits sabotage us. So that's what we're going to be looking at. That's why I don't want you to make any assumptions when you see that Habit Finder assessment, because some of the things that you may look at and say, oh my gosh, this is terrible. When we start to debrief it, it actually might be, this is actually really serving me really well. And this is something that I don't want to change. And this is something that I want to tap into or I want to tweak a little bit. So what is a habit? Let's talk about that for just a second. A habit is something that's created to keep us safe. A habit gets created when something happens and we do something and it works really well. It kept us safe. It solved a problem. And then when that problem arises again, we do it again and it works really well again. So habits that we want to get rid of, the ones that aren't serving us so well anymore, are really just relics of past goals. So that's an important thing to look at. And we're going to look at it. We're going to dive into all of that. But this is your first step. This chart is going to be your first step in going through that. Where are those habits controlling me? Which ones are habits that are still serving me really well and helping me really well? My habit of drinking water every day, that's not a habit I want to get rid of. It serves me very, very well. I don't want to get rid of that one. But there are some other habits in my life that aren't serving me so well. My habit of first thing in the morning when I wake up, when my alarm goes off, is picking up this silly device and starting to check my email or my messages first thing in the morning is not a good habit. That habit is not serving me well anymore. I don't know that it ever served me well, but I think I believed it did. That's how it became a habit. Not serving me well anymore. So it's a habit that I'm working on removing and changing and creating a new morning routine and a new habit. And I'll talk about that later on in the week. But these are things that we want to sit down and we evaluate. And that's where this comes in. Which of these things, where am I in my comfort zone? Where am I in my fear zone? Where am I in my learning zone? Where am I in my growth zone? So as we do that, we can start to create, we can figure out which habit do I want to work on first to help me go across, to help me take me through this graphic: fear, comfort, fear, learning, growth. How am I going to go through this? In what thing? Where do I want to start? Okay. So that's your assignment for the day. Create your chart like this. Go in and take 10 minutes to do your habit finder assessment. And then we're going to schedule. And if you want to debrief with me, we will get that debrief scheduled. All that's totally free. No commitments, no anything. These are just to help you to move through all in this awesome 5-day challenge. So if you have any questions, feel free, comment below this video or shoot me a private message and we can connect and we can go through it. Have a great day, and I will see you guys back here for day 2 tomorrow.